Welcome to Career Compass, mapping your future. Visit yourcareerrevolution.com today to get your free guide on the benefits of working with a career ownership coach. So, Doc, one of the things I'd love for us to do today is for you to help us better understand the psychology behind limiting beliefs and how they shape our actions.
The thing about limiting beliefs is they are very subtle and they are very sneaky. So this is one that really takes true intention to pause and to really reflect on and to validate or invalidate those beliefs. And really, for the most part, limiting beliefs show up more as things like doubt, self-doubt, fear, worry, and really though, just blocking you to dream, right? To imagine, to really not have that level of confidence in what you are truly capable and can possibly do because of things like past experience we're still holding on to, or others telling us, what, you can't do that. That's a crazy idea, right? And those kind of things. So subconsciously, we start to believe that. And that just really limits our thinking and our beliefs of what truly is possible and what we're capable of doing. So it just kind of squashes that dream and that fire and that passion for what truly could be.
No, absolutely. And I think it probably even happens on a daily basis, right? We have to stop and actually start listening to what we're telling ourselves. I mean, how many times a day do we maybe think, oh my gosh, do you know what? You can't teach an old dog new tricks, or, I'm getting too old for this. Or maybe a young person thinking, like, oh gosh, I feel like an imposter. What am I doing in this boardroom? Or, the CEO is asking me for my opinion. Right. So, I mean, it seems so subtle and it seems so innocent, but those stories that we're telling ourselves may not actually be facts. They may be lies. And if we keep on repeating them, we may actually start believing them.
So I think there's a couple of things that really drive this. And a lot of it is just kind of ingrained in us, sort of human behavior as emotional creatures, right? We believe that we have to show up a certain way. We want others to perceive us a certain way. And so if we step out, what are we doing when we step out, especially into things we might not have done before, or we might not be that well trained in, we're equipped to do, but maybe we specifically haven't done that thing yet. So the story we tell ourselves is, well, what happens if I mess up? What are people going to think of me? Right. So right from the bat there, we're kind of setting ourselves up for that limiting belief. And then subconsciously, again, that really kind of suppresses our true ability. So again, just that questioning ourselves in something that we may not be familiar with, the unknown.
Yeah. And, the one thing that strikes me about a belief, it is a belief. It's not fact. It's not necessarily true. And so, as we think about what we're telling ourselves and these beliefs, I think it just would be helpful to say, is what I believe helpful? And if it is, great. Or is it doing the opposite? Is it limiting me? Is it creating a barrier? Is it messing with my confidence? And if so, to figure out how to stop doing that. I mean, I think about my own personal stories, right? And uh, I don't think I'm unique, but I remember working incredibly hard at the beginning of my career and starting to feel dissatisfied. And my dad said, well, what is this dissatisfaction about? And I'm like, well, I just feel like I'm not being appreciated. And I don't mind working hard. I know I've got great work ethic, but I'm feeling like I'm doing it for somebody else and they don't even care. And so my dad just said, well, then do your own thing. And boy, as liberating and supportive as that sounds, I started becoming a meaning making machine. I'm like, well, I'm not qualified to do my own thing. I don't have the confidence or the vision to do my own thing. And the more I started thinking about it, the worse it got. I started telling myself, well, because I'm not a Richard Branson or Warren Buffett or you name the entrepreneur of your choosing, therefore, I'm not like them. That means I'll just have to settle for being an employee and work on somebody else's dream. Nobody told me that. As a matter of fact, the people in my life were dream catchers. They were supportive. They were pushing me out of my comfort zone. All of this started in my own head. And thankfully, I had strong leaders around me.
To your exact point about surrounding yourself with people that truly care and
Mhm.
will push you when you need it, I started sharing that all with a mentor. And he told me, he said, Doc, just stop for a second. You say that you really want to be a trainer and a leadership coach, but you've never done it before. What have you been doing for the last 15 years of your military and the last 10 years of corporate? And I said, well, I've had a job. He said, no. What have you been doing? What was your role? What was your responsibility? I was like, well, I was a leader. That's when the light bulb went off, right?
This episode is really encouraging you to stop and become aware of what you're telling yourself. Our topic today, and I'm so excited, is to talk about defining your goals at this stage in your life.
So I just want to say that this truly is one that's very near and dear to my heart. What really kind of pushed me down this road and got me to realize the true importance of this was when I was at my corporate job in Berkshire Hathaway. My roles and responsibilities had kind of changed from what I was initially hired to do. It wasn't really me. And until I got that little push to help me figure out what my personal goals were, like deeply rooted personal goals, what I truly wanted out of life. That's when I realized that I really couldn't align the professional to the personal, right? Which is so important. Any job you're in, once you know your goals, you can work on that alignment. But if you don't know them going into it, then you're just kind of stuck. But once I really uncovered my goals, when I found that they couldn't align, then I made the leap into entrepreneurship. So
Sometimes we think the goal is the goal, and then the goal is not the goal. What does that even mean? But like you were saying, you wanted this job. So you accomplished the goal, but then you realized the goal was not the goal. Do you want to comment on that a little bit?
there's different kinds of goals, right? There's a true personal you goal, which is really all it starts, right? Deep down inside, really, what is your goal? But if you're just stepping into purely a professional goal, right? I want to get to X position. I want to make X amount of money, right? Professional. And you hit that, then you're absolutely right. You will still find out that there's things missing, right? Sense of fulfillment, accomplishment, purpose, and the list goes on. So, those kind of tangible surface level goals, while they may be worthy, they are definitely not all encompassing.
Today, we bring it all together with the step that separates the dreamers from the doers. We're talking about taking meaningful action.
Action is the enemy of anxiety, right? So when we're sitting around stewing or thinking or trying to make that decision, or we've made the decision but haven't stepped out yet, action is the medicine that's going to make everything fall into place and help us to make our dreams come true, like you said.
It is easy, so easy to get stuck in them. Oh, this was great. This was nice. Someday, one day when I have a little bit more time, one day when I feel a little bit more prepared, one day, right? That day will never, never come. And, whether it's fear or procrastination, maybe overwhelm, or simply not knowing where to start, I have learned that on my own journey, that clarity comes from action, not just from thinking about things more. Waiting until I feel comfortable or confident are likely feelings that are always going to elude me. So think about it. It's not about once you feel 100% confident, 100% comfortable, right? It's about educating yourself, and once you have the education, look, it's not about jumping off of cliffs or being reckless, right? You have the information. Now it's about making an informed choice. And I know that does take commitment and that absolutely takes courage. But oh my gosh, once you've mustered up the courage to at the very least take that first step, I have found that confidence, pride, the feeling of accomplishment and empowerment, and a whole bunch of other miraculous and amazing things happen. One of my favorite topics, why working with a career coach, a career ownership coach in particular, can help you explore what's possible, can help you explore and figure out what it will take that next step. Really help you gain clarity and muster up the courage to take meaningful action. I never understood the power of coaching until I got to work with a coach myself and realized that, a coach really isn't there to tell you what to do. I know career ownership coaches, for instance, don't sell anything. They don't have an intended outcome, but they take you through a series of what I like to think of as thought exercises to really help you find clarity and direction. And we have such an honor because we're a 40-year-old company and we have a time tested process. And actually, you know what? It's not even just a time tested process, it's a patented process of education, awareness, and the discovery that our coaches get to use to help our seekers and our clients explore what's possible. And once you have clarity, of course, it's your own personal responsibility to take action of what you now know is going to be best for you. If you are considering a change, I would encourage you to do the following. Visit careercompassshow.com and sign up. As a matter of fact, if you're listening to today's show, one of the things that we're going to do is give you a free copy of your very own Your Career Revolution book. So make sure that you check that out. Give us the information so that we know where to send it to. At some point in time, you saw so much value in coaching that you actually chose to become an executive coach. Why don't you tell us about the path that led you there and why you do what you do today?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Again, I just want to back up real quick to something you said earlier about, the career coaches there don't do any sales, right? And that's the same thing I do as an executive coach, right? Every time I meet with a potential client, it's never a sales pitch. It's always a serve pitch, right? How can I best serve you, right? And just really talking through the value that a coach can bring to the table. So what really started me down this journey is I actually had someone reach out to me for some help one time. This was, you know, close to the end of my corporate journey. Several senior leaders within the company just came to me for advice, shut the door, and they just started asking me questions and kind of letting me know how they were feeling. And, as the safety manager, I kind of had my finger on the pulse of everyone. But what I quickly found was they really weren't interested in getting specific answers to their questions as much as they wanted someone to help them create the space where they could stop and think and work through things and have someone that could challenge them and help them to unpack questions or thoughts or become aware of blind spots, maybe biases, the things that were holding them back. So the more I was exposed to helping people through that lens, it just really fired something inside of me that, man, if I could do this full time, that would be totally awesome. So I think I kind of touched on this before. I started getting to the point where my corporate job just wasn't filling that need anymore, that internal passion. And so I came home and talked to my wife and asked her if she was cool if I stepped from the corporate job, and there you go. So it was really that, just seeing the value of how a coach can pour into others and the true ROI, right? Initially, it's an intangible ROI, but I think in a lot of aspects, that intangible ROI leads to a way bigger tangible ROI.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please go to yourcareerrevolution.com and request your free guide to the benefits of working with a career ownership coach. Thank you so much for listening.